Ever wondered if you can claim your newborn on your 2024 taxes? The question might seem complex, but don't worry. We're here to simplify it for you. Claiming a newborn on your taxes, indeed, is an aspect of financial planning that often leaves new parents scratching their heads. It's not just about understanding the rules, but also about figuring out the implications. So, what's the big deal about it, you may ask? Well, it's about optimizing your tax situation and potentially unlocking significant tax benefits. Here's a teaser. It can potentially translate into thousands of dollars of tax savings. Sounds intriguing, doesn't it? However, it's not as simple as just adding another dependent to your tax return. There are rules to follow, forms to fill out, and criteria to meet. But don't fret, we've got you covered. Stay tuned as we delve into the process of claiming your newborn on your 2024 taxes. Before we proceed, it's important to understand the basics of tax credits. So, what are tax credits? Simply put, they're a form of tax relief that reduces the amount of tax you owe. Picture them as a subtraction from your total tax bill. If you owe $1,000 in taxes and have a $500 tax credit, your tax bill drops to $500. It's like a gift card for your taxes. Now, there are two types of tax credits, refundable and non-refundable. Refundable tax credits are the ones you really want. They can reduce your tax bill below zero. So if you owe no tax and have a refundable credit of $200, you'll actually get a $200 refund. Not bad, right? On the other hand, non-refundable tax credits can only reduce your tax bill to zero. Any excess credit is lost. So if you owe no tax and have a non-refundable credit of $200, you won't see any of that money. It's like leaving money on the table. Tax credits are significant for taxpayers because they can considerably reduce your tax liability. They can put money back in your pocket, or at least keep it there. They're especially beneficial for low to moderate income families, as they often qualify for several tax credits, which can make a substantial difference in their financial situation. For instance, the Earned Income Tax Credit is a refundable credit designed to help low to moderate income working individuals and families. Another example is the Child Tax Credit, which we'll discuss in the next scene, that benefits families with children. In a nutshell, tax credits are a powerful tool in your tax planning strategy. They can lower your tax bill, potentially giving you a refund, and help you better manage your finances. The key is to understand them and make the most of the credits for which you qualify. With a good grasp of tax credits, let's now explore how they relate to your newborn. The Child Tax Credit plays a significant role in the tax benefits you can receive for your newborn. So what exactly is the Child Tax Credit? Simply put, it's a tax benefit that reduces the amount of tax you owe on a dollar-for-dollar basis for each child you have under the age of 17 at the end of the year. The purpose of this credit is to provide financial relief to families by offsetting some of the costs associated with raising a child. The Child Tax Credit is not a one-size-fits-all benefit. Instead, it's based on your income and the number of children you have. For instance, in the year 2023, the maximum credit per child was $3,000 for children aged 6 to 17 and $3,600 for children under 6. However, these amounts can be reduced or eliminated depending on your income level. So, how do you qualify for the Child Tax Credit? Well, there are a few key criteria. First and foremost, the child must be your dependent. This means you're financially responsible for them, and they live with you for more than half the year. Additionally, the child must be a US citizen, US national, or US resident alien. And as I mentioned earlier, the child must be under 17 at the end of the year. But what about newborns? Yes, you can claim the Child Tax Credit for your newborn, as long as they meet the other requirements. Even if your baby is born on the last day of the year, they are considered a dependent for the entire year. So if you have a new bundle of joy in your life, congratulations, you may be eligible for a substantial tax credit. The Child Tax Credit is a crucial tool for new parents, but how exactly can you claim it for your newborn? Well, we'll dive into that in the next part of this video, so stay tuned. Scene script. Claiming your newborn on your taxes involves a step-by-step process. It's a bit like changing a diaper for the first time. A little daunting, but once you've got the hang of it, it's not too bad. Let's walk through it together. First up, get your newborn a Social Security number. This is a must. Without it, the Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, won't recognise your child as a dependent. An application form for a social security number is typically provided by the hospital when your child is born. If not, you can always visit your local social security office or check their website for details. Secondly, make sure you meet the IRS's tests for claiming a dependent. These include the relationship, age, residency, and support tests. The relationship test is easy. Your child is your son, daughter, stepchild, foster child, brother, sister, stepbrother, stepsister, or a descendant of any of these. The age test is also simple. If your child was born any time in the tax year, even as late as December 31st, they qualify. For the residency test, your child must have lived with you for more than half of the year, but don't worry, the IRS makes an exception for newborns. Lastly, the support test. This means you must have provided more than half of the child's total support for the year. Thirdly, be ready to adjust your Form W-4. This is the form your employer uses to determine how much federal income tax to withhold from your pay. You can claim additional allowances for your newborn, which means less tax will be withheld, and you'll take home more pay. Next, when tax time rolls around, you'll need to file Form 1040. This is the standard federal income tax form. You'll list your newborn as a dependent in the exemption section and calculate your child tax credit. Speaking of the child tax credit, it's important to understand how it works. For each qualifying child under the age of 17, you can reduce your federal income tax by up to $2,000. And if the credit exceeds the amount of tax you owe, you may be eligible for a refund. Finally, keep track of your child-related expenses. Many of these, like childcare and medical expenses, may qualify for additional tax credits or deductions. Keeping good records will make it easier when it's time to file your taxes. In summary, claiming your newborn on your taxes involves getting a social security number, meeting the IRS tests for claiming a dependent, adjusting your Form W-4, filing Form 1040, understanding the child tax credit, and keeping track of child-related expenses. Now that you know how to claim your newborn on your taxes, what are some common pitfalls to avoid? As with any tax-related process, it's crucial to avoid certain mistakes when claiming your newborn. So let's dive into the common pitfalls new parents often stumble upon. One of the first mistakes is not understanding the child tax credit. This credit is a way for the government to help parents with the costs of raising a child. However, not understanding how it works can lead to errors in your tax filing, which could potentially lead to an audit. So, take the time to understand the child tax credit and how it applies to your situation. Another common mistake is not including the social security number of your newborn on your tax return. The IRS requires this for you to claim your child. If you don't have it yet, make sure to apply for one as soon as possible after your child is born. It's a free process and can be done at the hospital where your child is born or at your local social security office. Then there's the error of claiming your child in the wrong tax year. Remember, you can claim your newborn for the tax year in which they were born. Even if your child was born on the last day of the year, you can still claim them for that entire year. But don't jump the gun and claim them for a year in which they weren't born. Lastly, don't forget to update your W-4 form with your employer. This form determines how much federal income tax is withheld from your paycheck. Adding your newborn to this form can reduce the amount of tax withheld and increase your take-home pay. Of course, it's always a good idea to consult with a tax professional if you're unsure about any of these points. They can provide guidance tailored to your specific situation and help ensure you're doing everything correctly. Avoiding these mistakes can save you a lot of stress and potential issues with the IRS. So take a deep breath. You're doing great. Navigating the world of taxes as a new parent can be daunting, but with a little knowledge and careful preparation, you can confidently claim your newborn on your taxes. Besides the child tax credit, there are other tax considerations for new parents, and that's what we'll dive into in this segment. It's not just about claiming your newborn on your taxes. There are several other elements you can consider to maximize your tax benefits. Firstly, let's talk about the Earned Income Tax Credit, or EITC. This is a refundable credit designed to benefit working people with low to moderate income, and the amount of credit you receive increases with the number of qualifying children you have. With the addition of a newborn, you might find yourself eligible for a larger credit. Next, there's the Child and Dependent Care Credit. This is for parents who pay for childcare so they can work or look for work. It's not just for daycare either. This credit can also cover the costs of a babysitter or nanny, a summer day camp, or even after-school programs. Keep in mind, though, the child must be under 13 for you to claim this credit. Another consideration is the adoption credit. If you've welcomed a child into your family through adoption in the last year, you might be eligible to claim this non-refundable credit. This can help offset the often considerable costs of adoption, including legal fees, court costs, and travel expenses. And then there's the medical expense deduction. If you've had significant medical expenses related to the birth of your child, you might be able to deduct these. This can include everything from prenatal care and childbirth to postnatal care. However, to claim this deduction, your total medical expenses must exceed 7.5% of your adjusted gross income. Lastly, let's not forget about the opportunity to contribute to a 529 plan. These are investment accounts used for saving for future education costs, and they come with some pretty significant tax benefits. The money you contribute grows tax-free, and withdrawals for education expenses are also tax-free. Some states even offer a state income tax deduction or credit for 529 plan contributions. And remember, tax laws change regularly. It's always a good idea to consult with a tax professional to ensure you're taking advantage of all the tax benefits available to you as a new parent. In conclusion, while the child tax credit is a significant benefit for new parents, it's far from the only one. By being aware of the earned income tax credit, the child and dependent care credit, the adoption credit, the medical expense deduction, and the benefits of a 529 plan, you can optimize your financial situation and make the most of your newfound parenthood. Being aware of these tax considerations can help you maximize your tax benefits as a new parent. So don't let tax season stress you out. With a little knowledge and planning, you can make it work for you and your growing family. Let's now recap the main points about claiming your newborn on your 2024 taxes. A bundle of joy can also bring some financial relief in the form of tax credits. We've explored this topic in depth, shedding light on the basics of tax credits and how they can benefit you as a new parent. Remember, tax credits are subtracted from the amount of tax you owe, effectively reducing your tax bill. We also delved into the child tax credit, a significant benefit that you can claim for your newborn. This credit is designed to assist families in offsetting the costs of raising children. For the tax year of 2024, it can provide substantial savings. However, to claim this credit, there are certain requirements that your family and child must meet. Next, we guided you on the process of claiming your newborn on your taxes. The key steps include obtaining a social security number for your baby, choosing the appropriate filing status, and understanding how to apply for the child tax credit. It's not as daunting as it may seem, but it does require careful attention to detail. We also discussed common mistakes to avoid when claiming your newborn on taxes, from overlooking the need for a social security number for your baby to misunderstanding the rules about residency and support. Errors can lead to delays or even audits, so it's crucial to get it right. Finally, we touched on other tax considerations for new parents. This included information about the earned income tax credit, the child and dependent care credit, and the importance of adjusting your tax withholding. These areas can also offer significant tax savings, so it's worth taking the time to understand them. With this knowledge, you're now better prepared to navigate the tax landscape as a new parent. Remember, when in doubt, always consult with a tax professional. These financial matters can be complex, and professional advice can help ensure you're taking full advantage of the benefits available to you and doing everything correctly. Here's to a successful tax season as you celebrate the joy of parenthood.